Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. So, Canelo Alvarez is going to fight in Mexico in 2019, or so the rumor says. Now, according to BoxingScene.com, Canelo Alvarez and Oscar De La Hoya are open to a potential clash in Mexico in 2019. So, as we all know, that Oscar De La Hoya has already stated previously, according to BoxingScene.com and Michael Benson, that Canelo Alvarez would be fighting 3 times this year in 2019. So he's already fought once. He fought Daniel Jacobs on Cinco de Mayo weekend. So he would arguably have about 2 fights left, one in September and one in December. And so with those 2 fights left, Canelo Alvarez has a possibility of fighting one of those fights in Mexico in a huge arena fight. The last time Canelo Alvarez fought in Mexico was in 2011 when he stopped Kermit Cintron in Mexico City. So this would be a fantastic event if he did take a fight in Mexico. It would be an amazing, huge, historic event. He would get thousands and thousands of people, coming, and it would just be a huge deal. These are the type of things that make Canelo Alvarez a global superstar. And here's another quote from Oscar De La Hoya. He stated that as far as what weight Canelo Alvarez could fight at next, he said that depends. Why not at 175? I think Canelo has always been ambitious and wants to fight with the best. So let's sit down and analyze the situation. So now I think that Canelo Alvarez would, he only has a few choices for his next fight, depending on who you want him to fight. And let's focus on the middleweight division. He could unify titles with Demetrius Andrade next. He could end up fighting Sergey Kovalev at 175, or Callum Smith at 168. So Callum Smith fight is typically a fight that Canelo Alvarez stated that he would prefer to do in the UK. If Canelo Alvarez was to fight Triple G, there's already been speculations that he would be interested in a third Triple G fight, and these guys have already had preliminary negotiations in 2018 about possibly having Triple G Canelo 2 in Mexico City. So Triple G Canelo 3 in Mexico City would be a huge deal, and I think that would probably be the most likely fight. I think another great fight to have Canelo Alvarez fight in Mexico City would be a Jamal Charlo fight. I think that would make a lot of sense. Jamal Charlo, Canelo Alvarez, huge clash, and you can't imagine that fight would do huge numbers at the gate in T-Mobile Arena. So I would think that bringing that fight down to Mexico City to a packed house would just really excite the boxing world and thousands of fans. So Canelo Alvarez, I just don't see Callum Smith there. I think Sergey Kovalev could be a possibility. If Canelo Alvarez was to go to 175 and fight Sergey Kovalev, I think that would be the perfect fight to have in Mexico City, because that's an easy sell for the Mexican public. I think a Jamal Charlo would be an easy sell, and I think that would be a great fight, action-packed fight. And I think another fight, a Demetrius Andrade, I think that's more of a Las Vegas fight. I think Demetrius Andrade, since he's a world champion, I think it'll be very difficult to get a current world champion to travel to Mexico City who has a decent name. I think Demetrius Andrade is known at least enough to where he wouldn't need to do that. He could build just as much buzz as Danny Jacobs did for Las Vegas. So I think most likely it'll probably be Triple G. It'll be either, Sergey Kovalev in Mexico City, or even Jamal Charlo. I think those would be the 3 primary candidates. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders is an option, but if he is, I don't think that Canelo Alvarez would go to the UK to fight Billy Joe Saunders. I think he would have Billy Joe Saunders come to Mexico rather than the US to fight him. So I think that those are the most likely opponents for Canelo Alvarez in Mexico, should they make that fight happen. This is something that these guys have been talking about for the last few years, and this is something, when they signed with DAZN, stated that this is something they would love to do. This is a definite possibility, and this is something that really needs to happen. Oscar De La Hoya has already stated that he would sit down with Canelo Alvarez, see if fighting in Mexico is something that he wants to do right away, and they'll go ahead and get that done if he so desires. So this will be a fantastic situation. I think that at some point Canelo Alvarez will return to Mexico, will fight, and I think one of these opponents have to be the natural choice. But once again, Unbiased as always, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.